difference between your engines and your grass rigs. Your engines usually will have anode protection for any type of electrolysis in the pump, plumbing. A lot of grass rigs do not. Here's a prime example that you guys can see, and this electrolytic effect usually likes to hit on sharp edges. You can tell how this one is eat up real bad right at that flange, and this one is not. And you can buy the little, the anode, the zinc deals that can screw into your pump, or if you've got an old busted up boat motor or know somebody that does, this is nothing but one of those blocks, and that's on a copper wire, just hang right over the inside of your filler neck. And then you can have that protection in your grass rigs as well. So a lot of these aluminum housings are getting eat up from the inside out. You can tell a little bit of the difference of just how they look. And one is protected and one is not. So ready to pull prime? We're going to watch for pressure. We're going to listen for the sound of it. And we can go ahead and probably, your number 3 discharge. Right there is what we're going to open up and start moving water. So, if I was to open a line right now, don't open it yet, we're really close to 0. When it tries to dump, it could go all the way to 0, and we could lose it easier. So we're going to increase that. We're going to go ahead and run this up to about 100 pounds of pressure. All right, so we're bumping a little bit. Start to open real slow and be ready to pull your primer. This one seems to pull your primer. I think we got an air leak somewhere. Go ahead, real slow. Pull your primer. Pull your handle while you're down, while you're pulling primer.
So we're battling that air is what he's doing. He's battling that air.
Battling the air. Once you get the air out of the system,
you're good.
It maintains, it's centrifugal, it's a vacuum pump. Blow your pump. Yeah, I'm going to get some more water over here. The centrifugal makes a good vacuum, and it will continue to pull water. When you take that was in drive, it almost looked like you went twice with it, but it should be in drive, or maybe in 4. I don't know how this is set up. But when you go to neutral, now you may have been watching it, something that's real good. You look at your speedometer.
Okay, no, I was watching these green lights.
When we do that switch, we're taking power from the drive shaft. Now instead of going to the rear wheels, now we just transfer it over to the pump. Drive shaft still turns, transmission still turns. Truck thinks it's still driving down the road. So when you put it in pump gear, you go about 15 to 25 mile an hour registered on your speedometer.
Okay.
So when you
see
go to
that,
pump
so you-
shift, and when you put it in neutral, let your speedometer come all the way back down to
Give it
zero.
more time.
Or count to about 5. As soon as you go to neutral, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then up to neutral, then up 2. And that way, everything's had time to quit turning.
Okay.
It didn't grind or anything.
Right.
But I didn't cover that yesterday about watching your speedometer as well.
I know. I heard that. Thank you.
That'll let you know. That's another indication. Say like that pump light is out,
Uh-huh.
but if your speedometer is reading, it's in gear.
Thanks, sir.
So, good job.
Thank you.
In that driver operator pumper book, there's a lot of information in about drafting, theoretical
Yeah.
stuff, and nothing beats the hands-on.
Sure.
But if you read some of that, you'll think, oh, now that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Now I understand why we're doing that. Or, you know, it doesn't hurt to read it, but nothing is better than having your hands on it and doing it a couple, 3 times a year, because you don't use it, you'll lose it. And this is in a controlled environment. When it's 3 in the morning, it's raining, everything's wrong, got a huge fire, it just adds to
Stress.
and then you get nervous, like if you ain't getting it quick enough and one little thing goes wrong, it keeps building, you know, but you overcome it. In this situation,
Guys, there's plenty of water over in this ice chest too.
Thanks, sir.
in this situation, you don't always have the luxury of, I'm only on the end of the nozzle.
Right.
Guess what? It's me and you, bud. You're pumping the damn truck today. And so when that happens, because it will, the more you do it, the more you will have felt comfortable when that happens.